Hi guys, welcome back to Tom Talks. Let's make sure that you like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And yep, it's another football video, but the women's football season is over. So I'm here to talk about May for Manchester United women, and it was a disappointing end to the season overall. So let's get into it. Kind of touched on this in the last video because I filmed it. It didn't upload, so I had to briefly mention it at the end of the video. But Manchester United women drew 2-2 with Man City, which secured Champions League football. It was a result that, the team showed strength, they showed desire, they showed a bit of grit, and they got the job done. Started the game decently. City then hit us with two quick-fire goals. Grace Clinton with a lovely header from Anyon's cross to get us back in the game. Then Melvin Mallard, nice little 1-2 with Turland, lovely finish. Mannion then gets sent off, of course. Didn't make the right decision on that challenge. And as a result, we had to play the last 20-odd minutes with 10 men and 10 women, I should say. But we held on, we got the job done, and we secured Champions League football for next year. Jade Riviere, of course, got injured in that game, and she was a big miss for our last two games. But, Jade has been fantastic this season. In my opinion, she's been the best right back in the league. Some people will probably say Lucy Bronze or maybe Fox from Arsenal, but for me, she has been the best right back this year. We then play our final league game against Arsenal, and, there was positives from it. Everton getting back on the score sheet. I think our little semi-comeback from being 4-1 down to almost get a draw in the game, but we lost 4-3. I think we really missed Jade Riviere in that game. We got really exposed on the right-hand side. Maya Letitia doesn't look comfortable there. Dominique Janssen doesn't look comfortable there. Taking off a fullback for a striker. While Turner did score, and I think bringing her on was the right decision to make, we got really exposed, and it's why we went 4-1 down. Manager, I hoped, would have made his tactical errors in that game, because at the end of the day, whilst finishing second would have got us an extra game off in terms of the qualifying rounds of the Champions League, it's not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. We finished third still, so... But that Arsenal team was there for the taking. They'd been battered by Villa. They lost quite a bit to Brighton. But yeah, tactically, we just got exposed at the back, really. And defensively, we didn't look as strong as we had done. And then finally, we've just lost the FA Cup final 3-0 to Chelsea. Now, there were points in the game where we looked decent. We were getting some balls in the area. Dominique Janssen, I think, had a good chance. Everton had a moment where, should we have had a penalty? Probably not. But Chelsea gets a penalty before half-time. They score it. And then in the second half, I think the manager makes a series of bad decisions tactically. Turner comes off for Toon. And then Dominique Janssen goes in at centre-back, which I don't think was the worst decision in the world, but, Then he takes Mannion off and puts Celine Bizet at right-back, which I was quite baffled by as a decision. He then takes Bizet off. He also takes Gabby George off, who had a good game, I've got to say. Gabby George came out of that game quite well. And brings Sandberg on, and Sandberg really struggled, I've got to say. She did not have a good game. And then we go to like a three at the back sort of situation. He keeps Leah Galton on the pitch, who actually probably could play at fullback at first. He doesn't play her at fullback at all. He keeps her on the pitch when she's like crying in agony and pain. It's just, there was so many tactically baffling decisions made in that game by Mark Skinner, I'm going to say. And Chelsea exposed us at the end. They get 2 more goals. They seal the win. They complete their unbeaten domestic treble. They comfortably won the league. They comfortably won this FA Cup final. And then the League Cup final, they just got the job done. And this Chelsea team deserve it. I mean, in the Champions League, they got battered by Barcelona. And I think it kind of shows that the English teams maybe are not quite at the levels yet. But we'll see how Arsenal does against Barca in the Women's Champions League final. But I was really disappointed by that FA Cup final performance. I was there and watching it. That team they didn't have any ideas. Lizzie Turner was out on her own most of the game. I think Leah Galton again, every game she starts and she doesn't contribute anything. She's barely involved. In that first half against Chelsea, she was like not doing what she was supposed to be doing, and there was this massive space on the left-hand side and Chelsea kept taking the ball forward, and they did sort it out in the second half, but again, Leah Galton, I don't understand how she keeps starting at left wing. Like Melvin Mallard, maybe she doesn't have the greatest game every game, but I think she's so much more of a threat on that left-hand side at the moment. I think she offers more. I think she's been better recently. Leah Galton overall has had a decent season, especially when you look at like stats-wise. But her last few games, she's just not offered much there. And then like she's literally crying in pain. And the manager's like, nope, you stay on. So, yeah. Defensively, we seem to lose the plot a bit towards the end of the season. I think that speaks to the fact that we need more defensive options. Like, Maya is a fantastic defender, but she needs different people besides her. Millie Turner. Turner is a decent defender, but she's not like... We need another defender to just take us to that next level. Mannion is basically, as I've stated many times this season, she is our right back and our centre back cover, and that's not on. We need more cover. We can't have one player being our only cover for 2 positions. It's ludicrous, really. Dominique Janssen, she doesn't have the pace. Like, I think Janssen is a good option in the middle of the park. Although I feel like Lisa Nielsen has shown that she has a bit more pace in the midfield, and that I think her and Miyazawa are probably going to be our 2 main defensive midfield options next season. And I think Janssen still has something to offer, but I just don't think she has the pace to be playing at centre-back, especially in these big games. Fallon Tunnage-Joyce has won the Golden Glove, and deservedly so. She has been fantastic this season. I can't blame her for the yesterday. It will be a few days when this goes out. The Arsenal game, yeah, she does make a mistake on the first goal. It's not great, and I think, to be honest, her penalty saving is something that she does need to work on. But she has been fantastic this season. Miyazawa, I think, has been really good. She has been fantastic in the middle of the park, and I think she has got a bit under the radar, to be quite honest. Grace Clinton's had a very good season. Ella Toone, there's been a lot of talk about this. I think it's fair that she didn't start the game, because I think having 2 defensive midfielders was the right way to go about things, to try and control the midfield. But she comes onto the pitch and, it did pick up a bit at the start of the second half, but again, nothing came of it. I think Lizzie Turland needs players with her, and I think the sort of tactics of just punt the ball forward or just, counter-attack, I think she needs support in that position. She needs somebody who's like just behind her or near her. And Grace Clinton's more of a box-to-box type midfielder, in my opinion. And as I said, Leah Galton was offering very little. Celine was trying her best, and then she gets put right back. Gabby George also I think she had a very good game, to be honest. I think she did she put in a good performance. But that performance yesterday was not good enough. And again, I look at the season and I think to myself, yeah, it's been fine. We're back in the Champions League. It's good. Got to an FA Cup final. Didn't really turn up for it. Writing's on the wall, in my opinion. Mark Skinner, he's done a decent job. He's got us in the Champions League. He's got us to a few cup finals. He won the FA Cup last year. It was against Tottenham, who they were a decent side last year, but we clearly were the better team. I mean, we won 4-0, But I think we need something new. We need a new style of play. His style of play doesn't work against Chelsea. It doesn't really work against Arsenal. It's worked against Man City this year, but Man City, if we're being honest, have not had a great season. They've had a lot of injuries. They've struggled. And yet, they only finished 1 point behind us in the league. And both them and Arsenal have sacked managers this season. They've both said, "Do you know what? We need to change things here." And Arsenal, as a result, came second in the league, admittedly quite far behind Chelsea. But they've also got to a Champions League final. They're first in since, is it 17, 18 years? And City will be better next year. They will. They'll make some signings. They'll have players back. They will be better next year. But we've just given him a new contract, Skinner. And I have a feeling we're going to have another similar season to the one before, where, Arsenal and City improve. Chelsea will obviously improve. They've just had a new investment from the guy who owns Reddit, who was there. Sonia, in her first season, has won the domestic treble unbeaten. And she will now be looking to try and do the quadruple. She will want more signings. And that's one of our biggest issues, squad depth. We don't have the squad depth. Mannion is our right back and centre back cover. We don't have really a good other option up front. Rachel Williams, I have a lot of respect for her. She did very well the season before, but she's not scored in the WSL this season. And, outside of that Arsenal game where she flicks the ball onto Marland and we, get a point, she's not been able to do much. And she's 37 now. And I think maybe it's time for us to move on and find someone else. Give Griffiths more opportunities up front, I think we need to make some big decisions at United, and I just don't think it's going to happen. With Skinner in charge, Jim Ratcliffe didn't turn up to the final. That's, again, a sign that he does not give a damn about the women's team, and it's really frustrating. Say what you want about Todd Bowley, and Chelsea fans are very right to criticise him, but he at least turns up. And it's it's the cup final. You've got no excuse not to turn up. Like last year, one of us will be watching the men's team, one of us will be watching the women's team. We know what you really mean, but whatever. You don't have an excuse this year, mate. You don't have an excuse. You don't. But It's been a frustrating season. Now, who replaces Mark Skinner? I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to let you guys in the comments tell me, because I don't see an obvious answer to replacing Mark Skinner, to be quite honest. The top tier managers are pretty much all taken. So it's going to have to be a younger manager, or someone who's doing well at sort of like a mid-table club. But let me know. Also, let me know, who do you think we should sign next year? Because, we need a right back, we need a centre back, we need another defensive midfielder, we need more wingers, because, again, Bizet, Mallard, Galton, because Chasey is not good. She's not going to play for Man United again. Let's be real here. Then we need another striker. So, yeah. So overall, it's not been a great end to the season, has it? We didn't win any of our last 5 games, which is pretty bad. And, after we'd been pretty defensively astute, we conceded 4 goals against Arsenal and we conceded 3 against Chelsea. We conceded 9 in our last 3 games. That's 3 a game. That's not good, But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think that Skinner needs to go? If so, who do you think should replace him? Who should be our priorities in terms of signings for next season? And what do you rate the season overall? We're back in the Champions League, so that will attract certain players. But we've got to aim higher. We need to be ambitious if we want to be catching Chelsea up. Because Arsenal and Man City have had off seasons. But they fixed that. Arsenal now have a chance of winning the Champions League. I don't think they will, but we'll see. And Man City will definitely go all out next year. But so I feel I'm not going to make a prediction now, but I have a feeling Man United won't be in the Champions League places next year. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. But until next time, folks, this has been Another Tom Talks.